Welcome to the RossKote podcast. This podcast is about building community around powder coating. Join us in this episode as we introduce you to the enigmatic, energetic, and passionate man behind Roro.designs, Ronan Heatley Smith. He's talkative, infectious, and unwavering in his authentic style as we discuss his process and philosophy behind his company. We'll blaze a trail from how he built his one-man brand to the pitfalls of social media. And don't worry about taking notes, because today we're giving you a free bonus. We've summarized the top 10 takeaways from our talk with Roro in our Build a Better Brand report. In it, you'll gain key insights based on the latest survey results from powder coaters just like you, plus the bonus top 10 with Roro. Find out what you're missing to help your business brand better. It's a free report. Just sign up now by clicking the link in the description. Now, buckle up and let's get ready to level up your powder coater game. Welcome to the RossKote podcast, episode 2, interview with Roro.designs2, Ronan Heatley Smith.
Hey.
Out of where now? Where in Canada are you located?
So I'm about an hour west of Toronto in Ontario.
Okay. And that's kind of the east side of Canada.
Yeah.
The west.
Yes.
Okay.
East. Yeah.
Very cold
Southeast.
Winters there.
Freezing. Hate them.
All right.
Summer's too hot.
Yeah, I noticed that about the East. I've only lived in Maui most of my life, so I really can't even handle cold at all.
Yeah.
So, but anyways, so I know you've got a couple social media accounts. What are they?
So my Instagram is Roro.designs2. That's where I do literally all of my business. That's pretty well the only place I ever post and do all my interactions. I do have a Facebook page that's just more for like the professional side, if people are just trying to look me up, who are just not into the whole social media thing, which is just Roro.designs powder coating. Those are my only two, and that's where you can find me.
And that's a lot to handle. Just two social media platforms can keep you pretty busy.
Yeah, so I barely post on Facebook. I do once in a while if it's like some really cool big project, or I might just say like, hey guys, I'm taking a vacation. Hey guys, check out my Instagram kind of thing. It's just they're two different worlds.
They are.
The work that comes from Facebook isn't the kind of work that I want, and the work that comes from Instagram is all like the stuff I want, right? So I'm just marketing myself to what kind of work I want to do and what I want to strive for.
Right.
Facebook's just not the place for me.
No, it's not the place for most business these days, unfortunately, unless you're paying for ads and stuff like that.
Yeah,
but,
exactly.
Yeah, and so you're saying that the majority of people that follow and contact you as customers contact you through Instagram.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay. All right. So let's get into how you got started. Talk me through it. What compelled you to become a powder coater?
Oh, you're going to need to make this podcast 5 hours long for this question.
There's always some story, right?
I was just talking to my wife right before we started this, and I said I could literally spend 2 hours answering one question, even though it's supposed to be like 30 minutes. So anyway, I'm going to run it down from like the get-go. So it needs way more of a backstory than just answering the question. So I originally was born in England.
Okay.
My dad used to live in Canada back in like the late 70s, early 80s. And he's been into drag racing since he was 16. He's like in his 60s now. So I've grown up in the like muscle car world, drag racing. So being in England, it's mainly imports and stuff like that.
Yeah.
So when I was growing up, when I was about 12, 13, 14 years old, I absolutely loved the show Pimp My Ride on MTV. I just thought that was like
I remember that show.
Oh my God. I just thought it was the coolest thing ever. I'm like, I cannot believe people can do this to cars. So the reason why that caught my interest so much is because my mom's side of the family is super artistic. Like I loved art class in school. I love painting. I love drawing, all that kind of stuff. So I was like, wow, this is like the perfect marriage of two things. Like it's the car world that I like love with my dad, and it's like the artistic side I love with my mom's side of the family. So we moved to Canada when I was 15. And then we just started like, all these like muscle cars are here and blah, blah, blah. So I absolutely loved it. I'm like, how can I get creative with like cars? So when I turned 16, my dad's friend gave me his first car. I painted it myself. I put racing stripes on the hood. I put like trucker lights into the roof. It was just like some crappy little car, and I just like put a spoiler on it, just all this stupid stuff. So then once I got I think I was driving like an SUV at the time, and like I was in high school, I had no job, and I'm like, I can't even afford gas. So a friend of mine sold me his Honda Civic hatchback, and I was like, wow, cool. I hate these cars. Like it's just not the norm because I've grown up in the muscle car world. So I'm like,
Right.
imports are stupid, but they're good on gas. So I'm like super embarrassed to be driving this car. So I'm like, okay, well, it needs wheels. Okay, well, the paint sucks. So I got to paint it. And then like one thing led to another. Now I'm like a diehard import guy, and I couldn't give two shits about a muscle car. Like I just love imports so much. I've like embraced, like I've got myself into that culture so much. That's what I absolutely love. So having said that, because because I'm like super into the import stuff, I start like polishing wheels. I got into auto paint and body. I actually did a co-op in high school at a shop that did basically pimp my ride, like that kind of stuff.
Oh, cool.
And I'm like, holy shit, like this is my absolute dream. I cannot believe I'm like doing this. So
Yeah.
I did a co-op at that shop for an entire school year. I actually went back to do my grade 13 just to do a co-op at this place. And then I loved it so much. Once my co-op was over, I worked there for a year for free.
Wow.
I went every day. I did chores around the house to get enough gas money to go there. The owner would once in a while pitch in gas money, buy me lunch or something. I just wanted to do it so bad. So I started doing an apprenticeship doing auto paint and body. Um, and then I think I just embraced myself into this car forum so much. JDM Rides, if anyone listens to this, what up? Um, so this car forum, I started just posting, oh, here's my build. Like I repainted and rebuilt this S10 pickup truck. I did my Honda Civic. I then bought an Integra. I did a whole bunch of work to that. And
Wow.
a bunch of people started inboxing me saying like, hey, I want you to paint my bumper. I want you to install this on my car. I want you to paint my wheels.
Ah,
So I just got into that whole, like I painted full cars out of my dad's driveway, like outside, bugs would land in the paint. Like, oh, it was just ridiculous. But I got so heavily into that. Um, so then I started polishing like wheel lips and wheels for a powder coat shop that's local here. And then the guy was going back to school, and he messaged me and he's like, hey, do you want to just take over like the powder coating part of the
really?
business? So I
Wow.
was like, well, I like the only job I had was just like polishing wheels. I was doing like $250 a set of wheels. Like if anyone polishes, like you wouldn't even touch one wheel for less than that, or for like more, like, you know what I mean? Like it's just
Right.
not enough. But it's just something I just did out of my dad's shop, and I love doing it. So anyway, I started powder coating at that shop, and the way I kind of put it is like almost like a tattoo artist. Like people come to you no matter where you go. So if tattoo artists move shop, if someone who cuts hair, colors hair, wherever they go, someone wants to follow them. So when I moved to this, like when I started working at the shop, everyone was like, "Oh, he works here now." So all the work started coming under like the recommendation of me.
Yeah.
Um, then I went and I worked there for I think 3 years, and I just wanted to get more back into the auto body kind of stuff. I was like, oh, you know what? This is where I started at. I didn't really. It was just a temporary thing, but I got so into the powder coating thing, and I was like, oh, it's like kind of like paint, but obviously more durable and blah blah.
Right.
So I was like, you know what? I really want to get back into the paint and body. So I left there, and I think there was like 6 to 8 months until the next course opened to like continue the apprenticeship.
Yeah.
And I just for like 6 months, I just had nonstop calls, emails, texts. Hey, I need you to do this, I need you to do that. And I'm like, oh, I don't work at a shop anymore, or that like the specific shop I like worked at. And they were like, oh, okay, well, I'll just like spray paint my stuff then. Oh, I'll just paint it myself. And I'm like, huh. it kind of seems stupid to not continue doing this. I just had so many people that were just uninterested in going somewhere because I wasn't doing
Right.
it. So I was like, well, I didn't really plan on opening a shop. And my dad was like, just do it. And like a bunch of friends were like, just do it. So even before I even found a shop, I had people dropping off parts at my parents' house, being like, whenever you get a shop, if you get a shop, you can do my stuff. I'll already have work for you. And then almost 5 years
almost
later,
like it's
here we are.
viral. Like it, yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. I don't know. It's kind of, I don't know how different your story is. I mean, it's very different to ours.
Yeah. Well, that's the long story short. I tried to keep that as
Yeah.
short as possible.
No, I think that's a
Yeah.
great, I think that's a great story that you have. And this is part of the reason why we kind of started the podcast to begin with, because I know there are so many interesting stories out there
Yeah.
that will hopefully give confidence to those that are just starting or struggling, or I know that, and you and I talked about this before, I think, is the guys, like people like you and Unit F14, Static Coatings, um, you know, SS, can't think of their one. I'll put them a link in the YouTube, but and even, or, you know, just the ones that we kind of started following about 2 or 3 years ago. I've watched you guys grow. We've grown too. I mean, it's not like we haven't grown, but like, it's so exciting to see other businesses grow.
100%.
We all kind of started around the same time, or, started following each other at the same time. And then, next thing I know, left and right, everybody's got a new shop. Oh, we're moving.
Oh, I know. It's crazy.
And so it can happen to, other people that are just starting, if you want it to, you know what I mean? You have to, you know how hard it is to do what you do, but, and I think you said, now how many years experience, you said it again, and I don't know if I asked you, or can you say it again? How many years have you been? Because you kind of started when you were young, but
so
painting
that's
and stuff.
Usually when I get that question, I just tell people, I'm like, I have an entire lifetime of backing of like working on cars, auto paint and body, polishing. Like the reason I got into polishing is because I think clear coat was like peeling on a set of wheels. Sorry, I'm just going to totally sidetrack. But because of the auto body and paint, you obviously have to sand through this certain stages, and then you sand the clear coat and you buff it. And I just one day I was like, I'm pretty sure that's the exact same thing, but to metal. So I just sanded down some wheels, polished them. I was like, oh, that's how you polish wheels. So that's a paint and body aspect. Just that's how I transitioned into that. Then painting wheels, and I was like, I restored an old set of like Mugen C or CF48s. I think that's what they're called. Yeah, CF48s. And I was like, that's so cool. Like old Japanese wheels. Like I'm super into Hondas. They went on a Honda CRX. But anyway, so I have powder coating experience for almost 8 years now. I think this September is like my eighth year.
Yeah.
It's my 5th year on my own in my shop. 3 years prior to that, but then a lifetime of being in the automotive industry. So when people say like, hey, if I have this conversation with like other coders or other people who want to like, do stuff like this, they ask for help, and I'm like, it's not that simple. Like the way I've evolved to get where I am is an entire lifetime. I'm 30. Like there is 30 years experience leading up to me doing 8 years of powder coat.
Right. And a passion. Yeah. Let's not forget about that, clearly you're energetic, and, you are, as we get into deeper dive into this social media, and stuff, I mean, there's more to you than that, and that's, so my question was, I was going to say what sets you apart, but I think you kind of already answered that in all of that. So let's take a deeper dive into social media and stuff because I want to check the time and see
Mhm.
how we're doing. Yeah, this is a good time to move into that subject
Yeah.
because I do want to cover as much as I can with you in the time that we have.
Oh,
So,
I've got all night.
okay, well, if it happens to go longer
Yeah.
than 30 minutes, then let it be. You know,
Yeah.
I'm okay with that because I think a lot of people want to hear what you have to say. And I want to discuss brand first. And
Yeah.
um, I think your brand is definitely uniquely yours. And we'll get into the finer points of that here in a minute. But the saying goes personal brand is a brand that is believable. And I think that is very true. At least that's the feeling I get when I look at your social media. And it's refreshing, I guess. It's like, it's so beautiful, you know, but it's not just the photo, right? I'm not talking about, yeah, you Instagram the shit out of that photo. I'm talking about the work, you know, the work that the ability to produce a quality product is, um, you know, amazing. First of
Thank
all,
you.
it's an amazing feat. Um, and you know, it's it I don't I guess I want to peel back the layers to what makes it you. And I know it makes it, when I look at it, I'm like, wow, you really make it look easy. Maybe it is easy for you. I don't know if you have help or not.
No, I'm a one-man show.
Wow, that's amazing. That makes it even more spectacular because I do know how much you have to put into social media to make it work. And but I think it's, you know, you post regularly.
Yeah,
Um,
when I first started, I was posting like 5 times a day, every day of the week. No matter,
yeah,
even if it was Christmas Day, I'd still post like 5 times a day. And now I'm just getting so much busier, and like everything was just off my cell phone. Now I got like a good camera. I have to take all these pictures. I mean, I know so many people make fun of it, saying like, oh, do photo shoots of wheels or whatever, but like that's a whole part of the process. Like every customer
it
gets
is.
gets the photos. I have to upload them on my phone, and I mean, my phone is full. I have to go back, delete every picture, re-upload them, make sure they're on my laptop so they don't ever get lost. And then every customer basically gets like a photo shoot of their wheels before they get them. So as soon as they come to the shop, they see the wheels, and I go, oh, here's your cell phone number, and I shoot them all the pictures of the wheels and go, there you go. That's for your Instagram, because obviously everyone's excited. They want to
Yeah,
post a wheel, so everyone gets like professional pictures taken. Because one of like my side hobbies has been photography, and that's what kind of got me in. Like I was doing portraits and stuff like that just for fun, and then I was like, well, while I've got a camera, I might as well just do wheels. And now it's like turned into a whole thing where it's like everything just gets professional, really
it
good
is.
quality picture. Like on Instagram you can only post 10 pictures, and usually 2, 3, maybe 4 of those are the before or during pictures. But I mean, I typically take 30 or more pictures of these wheels, and it's like, where else am I going to post them? Like I pick the best like 10 or 6 or 5 or whatever, and then
Right,
post those.
right. And I do want to say that about your Instagram. And it's funny that you say that because I didn't know this about my own husband, but he sneaks. You know, I'm arguing with him because he takes terrible photos. I mean, he really does. But his point of taking photos is to show the owner or the client how good the powder coating is. So it's either too up close or it's, I don't know what it is, but it's a way to inform them that their project is done. Hey, you're
Yeah,
good
oh,
to
100%,
go.
100%, 100%.
You know, you're proving your worth through the photo by texting them personally. I don't know if it's a guy thing or what, but like, I think they really appreciate that. And,
Yeah,
you
it's
know, I think that's a great way to do it if you're going to
I
get
mean,
into the get that game.
the whole social media thing is like just this whole generation is just everything is just now, 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 now. If I wanted a brand new fridge, I could have one on my doorstep in probably an hour. You know what I mean? Like,
Right.
so everything is just now, now, now. Like that just seems like the culture these days. So it's like your stuff's done. People usually, if I say to someone, "Hey man, your stuff's done," the first reply is not like "Thank you, great, awesome." It's like "Got pics," and I'm like, "No, I don't." Like, no, no, I just don't. So my whole thing is I've learned like this is like the experience of 8 years coming into play. I used to take pictures all the time, send it to people, hey man, your stuff's done. Shoot them a picture so they don't have to bug you and ask for it. It's
Yeah.
just save that step. Here's done.
Here it
Most
is. Yeah.
I would just get replies of that doesn't look like the right color, or
Oh, he does too. Yeah.
hey, what's this spot? And I'm like, it's a reflection off the light off the ceiling in your gloss black stuff. Like, what do you think it is? Like, it's a thumbprint from my dusty hands. So it got. Then once I started doing like the photography kind of stuff,
It
I was
shut him
just like,
up.
I was just like, well, my whole thing is, well, I mean, now this is probably within the last not even a year. I make sure, well, I mean, also, I would put stuff in the oven, text people, hey man, your stuff's going to be done in like a couple hours, pull it out, and then like something's messed up. Then you got to text them back, oh, sorry, my bad, something, you know what I mean? So like, I've now relearned my brain to say, hey, do not contact the customer until it is 100% ready to go. So once you come out of the oven, obviously everyone does your quality control inspection. I make sure the wheels have cooled down so I can handle them. I wrap up the back of the wheel.
Yeah.
Take them outside. I put my stickers on them because I put my little logo behind the valve stem hole, a little RD. Just like that actually came from the muscle car world of
Yes.
I used to watch what was it? There's some like show that would play like 2 o'clock in the morning, like classic car or something like that. And I remember they would always do like those Riddler awards. It was like something like that. And there was this Mustang and it was parked just like in the grass. And the guy went around and said, look at the attention to detail. Every single wheel and center cap has been moved. So the valve stem is face down and all the center caps are lined up. So the guy jacked up his car, moved every wheel, every center cap, so they all lined up for when it was like being put in the show. And that never left my brain. I was like, that's the coolest thing ever. Like that attention to detail. That I was probably like 15 or 16 when I saw that. And it's still just so fresh in my head that I'm like, valve stem down. Like I need like some sort of signature. So it's like that kind of something that sets me apart is like, that's my brand. That's my wheel. If someone sees it, the valve stem happens to be down. Someone sees RD. Oh, Roro.designs did those wheels. Cool. Yeah. So I take a picture of all the wheels. Then I tell the customer your stuff is done. So that's everything is done, ready to pick up. They always reply, do you have pictures? And I say, nope, you have to see it in person. Yeah. Like it just eliminates all those steps of, oh, that doesn't look like the right color. And you got to argue with them. No, it is. It's just the lighting. It's overcast, sun, you know what I mean? So like I've learned that now is just don't even send a picture. I mean, I always post on my Instagram like the before, during, sending them, sandblasting them, masked up. I might send people pictures of the wheels blasted and just say, hey, they're blasted. I'm going to code them next week, but I don't give them a day they're going to be done. Right. So the actual final product is just in person. Then I post on Instagram. So even other people don't get to see them until the customer sees them.
Right. Yeah. I think if you're going to be in that, social media, there is a process to it. And that's kind of, I think we went over that. What I wanted to ask you is, I don't know, is it just the lighting in Ontario or what? Because how do you manage to get the lighting on that just so perfect every time? It's just, is it the same time of day or, I mean, you've got different backgrounds, but.
Yeah. So it's either usually leaning on my shop door. A powder coater's favorite item is a wooden crate.
Yeah.
So it's either on the crate, never usually in the shop because the lighting's terrible. Or leaning up against my door. When I first started out, I was like super funky. I like took a set of wheels to a waterfall. I took one wheel 4 hours up north once on like a long weekend, and like we placed it in a canoe. Like all these pictures can be found on my Facebook if you scroll back to like almost the beginning. I just used to take wheels and parts into like really weird places, and that was a thing for a while. And no one has time for that kind of stuff anymore. Like I got family life now, got a kid, business is really busy. There's just too many things to be doing to go drive a wheel 4 hours up north or to a waterfall or a skate park or, you know what I mean, just to take a picture. So now I just focus on a really good quality picture. I like never put any edits on them. It's just like straight out the camera. Just that's what it is. That's the lighting. But yeah, if it's overcast, I get so mad when it's overcast because most colors you just have to see in the sun. They're crazy
Yeah.
candy colors, metallics. You can't take a picture when it's like gray and gloomy.
No.
So anytime it's sunny, it stresses me out because I'll have 6 or 10 sets of wheels just sitting in my office that all need pictures. So it's like I'm in the middle of coating something, the sun comes out, and I just have to like quickly get in the oven, run outside, set a wheel up. I might even just set like most of the time it's one wheel instead of a set of 4 because you just got to move one wheel instead of the 4, and I'll just blast off 30 pictures of one wheel in a different angle, maybe
Yeah.
2, and just like as quick as I can while the sun's out, and then they're all just backed up for a rainy day, so I don't have to take pictures, right? But in the winter, it's even worse because it's absolutely freezing, and then you stand outside for 10 minutes taking pictures, and you come inside absolutely freezing. So
Right.
yeah, like summers are good in Ontario. Like it's been, I can't even remember the last time we had a cloudy day.
I
It's
kind
been
of like
super nice though.
I kind of like the ones where they're in the snow and stuff like that. That's kind of
Oh,
cool. But it's, I'm in Maui, so
yeah.
like.
Like the white backdrop is great. Yeah. And
Is
then it
this
looks like
one?
it's
Oh,
out.
I
Then it looks
wonder.
like it's from a
Yeah, they got
magazine.
this one that has like a pool background or something like that, and I don't
Yeah,
know if
that was
that's
my parents' pool.
photoshopped. Oh, okay, okay.
That's what my parents' pool. Like I used to live there, so I would just take wheels home and I'd meet customers after hours. I'd meet
Yeah,
customers like midnight at my parents' house, all hours of the night, whatever worked for them, right? So I just would take a wheel home, take it out in a barn, by a pool, on a picnic bench, yeah, just wherever and
yeah.
whenever.
I think people. I think there is that standard like palette look, but
Oh
I
yeah, I
love
know.
I love how people are getting creative and continuing to kind of morph the process, I guess.
Yeah, oh yeah. It's funny. So another coder here in Canada is called Ion Coating. I
Ion,
thought,
yes,
yeah.
I love their
Oh
brand.
yeah,
Yeah,
me too. I talk to that guy all the time. Every Friday, we always send each other a picture of us holding a beer, saying like "Happy Friday." Like I just sent him a customer today who's actually closer to him than me. He was gonna Some guy wanted to ship me a set of wheels. I said he's closer.
yeah,
Just ship him to him instead. Like save yourself some money. But yeah, so me and him were having a joke a couple weeks ago, saying like he posted a picture on like a crate, and I was like, dude, sick crate. Like not even the wheels. I don't care about the wheels. Not that because I've had mine
it's
for so
funny because
long.
we just look at the background, right? It's
Yeah,
because like how did he get that shot or what did he do or
yeah. So
yeah,
I was like, dude, nice crate. And he's like, oh, thanks, it's brand new. And I'm like, we made a joke of like, we need some sort of shirts or an Instagram that says like crates coating or like coating by crates or like we listed off like 20 different variations of like coatings and crates. And I
I
was
think the
like,
king of the crates is blast coatings. They're my favorite crate.
yeah, oh,
They
100%.
do
Yeah.
class. I mean, I'm sure they were the
He's
first
awesome
ones.
too.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
How do you pronounce the name? Matthias? Mattia? Yeah. Anyway, I told him quite a bunch too. I sent him customers. He just
Yeah.
recently did a customer I
Well,
sent
yeah.
down to him. Yeah.
Where are they? They're in Canada too, right?
No,
Are
he's
they?
in South Florida.
Oh, South Florida. Okay.
Yeah, yeah. Yeah, I think
Eh,
he's a one man run shop too. Like I'm in a group chat with like 15 people,
uh-huh.
and they're all from the States. Shout out to In the Cloud. That's the group name. We've been in it for like 5 years. There's been people that have like come and gone out of the group, but there's like a main solid like 10 people who are always in there chatting every day. We help each other out for tricks and tips and problems or whatever. And
Yeah.
yeah,
Well, you're
they're
pretty
a bunch of
busy
awesome guys.
in the Facebook group that I'm in, which is the powder coating. Is it
Yeah,
tips and tricks or
tips and tricks, powder coating discussion, powder coating group. Yeah, there's a few I'm in. I try not to get involved so much of like there's a lot of industrial kind of stuff in there where that's not my forte. I'm not gonna
right?
put my 2 cents into somewhere I don't think it should be.
Yeah,
I try to help as much as I can, but yeah, I'm just too busy to get into a giant conversation with someone of you've got a
it's
speck of
true.
dust somewhere.
Yeah, and we talked about this in the last blog post. Is there's only so much you can give someone in a comment, and that's why I really wanted to start this podcast
Yeah,
so that we
yeah,
could go a little deeper with things like we are today about social media and stuff.
yeah,
But I guess I kind of want to say, so you don't have a website. You're just using social media, right?
yeah. Like Instagram, that's it.
Okay.
Like no website. I don't see the point in having a website. I like never post on Facebook groups. I never post on like Marketplace, Kijiji, which would be kind of like a Craigslist.
Yeah.
I just it's
Oh, I don't
Instagram,
know
word of
that.
mouth. That's it.
Yeah. I've never really thought to, I don't know. I don't want to judge anybody, but I just feel like a Craigslist and that kind of stuff is just, it's not
It
where you
brings out
find
the
your
cheap.
customer. Yeah,
No.
exactly.
I was
Yeah.
actually before this chat, we were talking in the cloud group that I'm in. We were just talking about how Facebook Marketplace just brings out all the cheap people who are
Yeah.
looking for like a set of wheels, like $20, $40, $50 a wheel. You know,
Yeah.
one stuff in a day. It's not where we're after that kind of stuff, that
It's,
kind of work.
it's not where I would like to see our industry grow. No.
Mm-hmm.
It's all about growing up, not
Yeah.
down.
I just feel
But
like I just feel like it's still not progressed to the point where people realize that powder coating is it's like it's like a custom painting kind of thing. Like you wouldn't go to a car paint shop and be like, I want these two color wheels, and you know what I mean? Like we tend to put
right,
more work. We tend to put more work into powder coating. Hence why you strip off the paint to bare metal. You blast it to make sure
right.
it's clean. Whereas like in the paint world, they're just going to sand what's there and put stuff over it. So and usually it's just the front of the wheel, not the whole thing. I mean, I know there are shops that will do that. Um, but yeah, as for like powder coat, I feel like it's just still a very industrial mindset where people just think like, hey, heat something up, slap some powder on it, put it through an oven for 10 minutes, and like there you go, right?
Yeah.
So I think the world and like customers need to just understand that powder coat is this like very detail oriented, custom, one off, kind of process that gives you like a really quality, long lasting finish. That's why it should be more than like $50 a wheel, right?
It, yeah, I mean, I think you pretty much put the nail on the head there because, and that's been our struggle as a powder coater here in
Yeah.
Hawaii, just trying to educate people,
Yeah.
customers and stuff. But at the same time, I think there is, thanks to people like you and getting it out there. I know our blog gets a lot of exposure and it really helps. I think it really helps
Yeah.
educate the customer at least ahead of time, so that they're not just coming to you like, what do I need powder coating for?
Yeah.
When I
Oh,
can
yeah. 100%.
spray paint
I
it,
mean,
whatever.
that,
Not my
I mean,
customer.
yeah, yeah. I mean, that's why, I mean, like I've said, I'm a car guy. I want to spend, I don't want to get ripped off by any kind of service out there for doing something to my car. That's why I post so much on my Instagram and like explain the process and explain the difference between a good job and a bad job. Is like,
Yeah.
hey, here's the money difference. If you think powder coating should be like $250, $300 a set versus people who charge like, five, six, seven, $800,000, prices can get up there. This is the difference. This is the quality difference. This is the prep difference. This is,
Yeah.
what I mean? Like I tried to educate as much as possible. Like, hey, this is the difference between, like money, what your money's going to get. I mean, I've said it a million times on my Instagram is like, it doesn't matter if you're making food, like, if you get food at a restaurant, like, do you want to get a McDonald's burger right now for $10 a combo, or are you going to wait 2 months and spend $50 on a Gordon Ramsay burger? Like they're both a burger, but what's the difference, right? Like you're going to
Hmm.
pay more for the one versus the other. It's just the quality, right? So I just tried to educate people as much as possible. I mean, whether they go to me or not, I don't care. It's just I want people to be educated of,
Educated. Yeah.
yeah,
I
that's
agree.
all it is.
Yeah.
Like even if you go somewhere else, like make sure you get what you're paying for. I'm the biggest advocate of that is like don't get ripped off. Don't let someone try to pull one over you. You should know the process start to finish. You should know everything someone should be doing that you're paying for. Not I
Yeah.
want my wheels red, they're red. Cool. Someone could just go, this guy just wants his wheels red, not do any prep work, not strip them, not blast them, not fix curb rash, just do them red, and that's what the customer wants. They just want a red wheel. And then they pay
Right.
$200 for it and they go, well, why would someone else be 3 times the price, right?
Right. Yeah.
So
There are some tenets in this industry that I think people, uh, powder coaters out there, kind of need to maybe understand or even just agree on and that's some of them right there. It's just, just it's okay if they walk away. I think I see a lot of desperation on the groups. It's okay that they walk away because either they'll be back and they'll learn their lesson,
Yeah,
and
yeah.
you'll get your day, of,
Hmm.
of retribution or whatever. Or if they don't, then that's not your customer. But
Yeah, yeah. Oh, exactly.
I want to turn back again to the website because I'm going somewhere with this. Okay.
Yes.
Now we have a website. A lot of powder coaters do, and a lot
Yeah.
of them don't, and stuff. But you recently had a situation with Instagram where they took down your account. Can you tell us what
Yes.
happened and what steps you took to keep your brand intact and, I don't know, follower base? Can you tell
Yeah,
us
yeah.
more about what happened?
September of 2019 is when my account got deleted. My Instagram account, which was just Roro.designs. And I absolutely hate that I have the two in my name now, but I have no idea how else to get it into any, I can't get my old name back.
Did they
So,
even email you or like let you know ahead of time or anything?
yeah, yeah. So I think a couple months before that, a picture of mine got flagged and it just said this was reported for something or other, but it never showed me what it was. So
Okay.
I just had to accept and then it would get taken down. So I mean, at this point, I had like 2,500 pictures. Like, I have no idea what was flagged. And this is over, the span of 4 years
Right.
that I've been posting. So I'm like, I don't know what it is. Maybe just someone was a little mad at posting something, or I don't
Right.
know.
Yeah.
So then it happened again, like a week before something was taken down. Happened again. Didn't tell me what it was. So I'm looking through, and I remember it was a set of brakes, and I'm like, whatever. Like maybe I just tagged the wrong. Maybe I tagged Mopar, and Mopar didn't like that, or whatever. And then it happened again, and I was like, oh man, like I didn't know what it was, and I was like, maybe it's brakes again. So I got flagged and was like, please accept, kind of thing. I accepted it, and I was ready to make my first post of the day. And I had just done like several jobs that I was so excited about. They were all like 3-piece wheels, super nice. The pictures were just like the best pictures I've ever taken. I'm like, I cannot wait to post these. And then all of a sudden, my account's just not there. And I'm like, this has to be a joke.
I
So
can't even imagine that.
I had an email that was like, you're like doing something counterfeit or something, and I'm like, oh my god, what the hell? So I like instantly email. Like I mean, I was very high strung on like I need my account back. I was emailing Instagram like crazy, but just robots reply. You don't get to speak to someone.
Right.
I was
Yeah.
trying to dispute it. And you have violated terms and conditions, and I'm like, I know that. Let me explain and like kind of thing. So I found out what it was. I'm not gonna get into it, but I found out what it was, and the same day I'm like, I need to keep my business running, so I just started a new account. Like
Yeah. I mean, really, what could you
so
do?
basic so basically, if I didn't start an account, I would have gone from September to now with no account. Like,
Yeah.
just get an account, keep it going. So luckily, because I had like 14,000 followers, so I mean, that was pretty sweet. Excited about that. So I'm like,
Yeah.
I need to just contact as many people as I know with also a big following to give people to give me a shout out to tell people follow my new account.
Yeah.
So I mean,
We did, but I don't know how soon that
appreciate it.
was after, but I think we did it in November or something
Yeah,
when
yeah.
I found out.
So I mean, obviously the people I work with closely, Righteous Garage, my buddy Blaine. I've been working with him for, oh god, I've known him for 8 years, I think now, 7 or 8 years. When I worked as a detailer at a shop, I met him because he worked next door, and we met each other like through cars or whatever. And then years later, we end up. He specializes in importing, building 3-piece wheels.
Mm-hmm.
So I do all the coating stuff for him. We work closely with a guy, Sean King of Bling. He does all the polishing. So like we're known as the trio. That like when people get their wheels done, you got to get hit with the trio. All three of us will
Mm-hmm.
do your powder coating, your rebuilding, relipping, sizing,
Yeah.
importing,
I
polishing.
like that.
So us three do that. So we actually, yeah. So I got people like that, like those two people, as among many others who shouted me out, yo, go follow his new account. It got deleted. So I'm slowly building it back up. I was like getting really bummed because I was like, well, I guess I'll just post all these pictures of all this stuff anyway. They get like 50 likes because I have no followers. So I'm like super bummed about it. But I'm like, whatever, it doesn't matter. I'm still busy.
Right.
My shop's still full of work. So I'm just now to the point, like, I don't even care if I get my old account back. I still have all the pictures saved somewhere. I mean, I just like will slowly
Yeah.
post
You
stuff
just have to,
from
yeah, just
the
you've got so
past.
much content, you just repost it.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, it's old, but whatever. So it's not the biggest deal. It's just like I find it as a challenge now to just like prove it wasn't a one-off that like I got 14,000 followers. I'm just now it's my goal to just get back to that. But
Right. Yeah.
another friend of mine is a marketing director,
Uh-huh.
Arthur. Shout out to Arthur. He's a guy who always did all my logos. He's the one who, designed all my logos for me and stuff like that. So he's a marketing director, and basically, like we've had this conversation a million times, and it comes down to if you have 14,000 followers and 13,000 of them are in a different country, it doesn't matter. Like they're not going to bring
Right.
you business. So it just it's
Exactly.
a number that doesn't matter.
It really
So
is, unless they're all engaged and you're getting,
yeah,
I mean, I think the standard is like at least 10% engagement on all your, so you're probably, on the, in hindsight, maybe it's a better thing that it happened because now you've got more authentic followers that are going to
well,
be,
yeah,
you
exactly
know,
right. Like now
that are
there's
really into what you're doing and stuff.
yeah, exactly. So I mean, I when I post a story, I still get as many people watching the story as I did when I had 14,000 followers. I mean,
Yeah.
I never really check out all the stats and engagements and stuff like that. I just post and I just go, oh, cool, 1,000 people watch that. I mean, obviously there's some fall off from,
Yeah.
I usually post like 30 stories, 30 story pieces at a time. So, I mean, there's a huge fall off of people who are probably just like, I don't care for him yelling at someone for not fixing curb rash. So they just
Right.
don't watch it, right? But I mean, I still, there's still a lot of people that watch it, but yeah, it's just a number. It doesn't matter. My shop's full all the time. I'm still getting, I get 10, 20 DMs a day of inquiries. So how many people follow me is completely irrelevant to the business, really.
I guess the only thing that really would have concerned me if it happened here, in our situation with our company is, we get a lot of hits on our website. And
Yeah.
so that's kind of where maybe having a website would have at least helped you in the interim, and stuff. Or maybe just been a safety net for you and stuff. And I'm not, everybody to each his own, but, I'm more of a scatter the seed broadly
Yeah.
kind of person
Yeah.
rather than
Yeah.
just dive deep into one thing. Because especially with social media, that the concern is that they do have the almighty power to pull you at any moment for,
Oh, well, I mean, like Instagram could just decide to not exist tomorrow. You know what I mean? And it's
exactly,
like,
go bankrupt or whatever. Yeah.
and then Facebook leaves. Then what do I got? Word of mouth, hopefully, right? So
Right. And
yeah,
so, yeah, I'm kind of a prescriber of that, but it, whatever you're doing, it seems to work very well for you
yeah. Thank you.
and stuff, but okay, so let's what else should we talk about? Let's go into another question. I
Yes.
think we've kind of covered that whole situation there with Instagram, and it didn't, and just to just to kind of finalize this didn't just happen to you. There was another powder coater that this
Oh,
happened to
there's
as well that I
several.
know
There's
of.
so many,
Were there
so
several of
many
them?
now.
Okay, because I only know of one or two, maybe others that I knew. I saw
Yeah.
you immediately, but I caught another guy, but I didn't know who else that had. And what's so funny, and we're not going to mention names here because I don't want to get in trouble either from the powers that be. But I think it's kind of funny that as much as they try to um, sheriff their brand, um,
Yeah.
and worry so much about it, stuff in like they're still posting stuff in Indonesia. Like you're not
Well,
going to
I
stop
know.
Indonesia or
Yeah.
Southeast Asia from doing it. Like, oh my God,
I
it's
mean,
just a
I
joke.
have,
It's a joke.
yeah, like I've got
Low
tons of
hanging
friends.
fruit. They basically
Yeah.
took the low hanging fruit to much to your uh, dismay.
Yeah.
You know.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I got tons of friends in the industry, and as soon as it happened, I just told as many people as possible. I posted in the groups and said, if anyone posts pictures of blank, delete them all now.
Yeah,
Like
I saw that. Yeah.
it's just not worth it. And I've never
Mm-hmm.
posted a picture of a brake ever since. Unless, well, I
Mm-hmm.
just did yesterday, but they were stock. They were just completely stock Acura brakes, no branding on them whatsoever. So I just do not post brakes anymore. It's not worth it. And I get people all the time being like, "Hey, do you guys refinish brake calipers?" And I'm like, Yes, I do. I just don't post about it. So that's just one
Right.
thing I'm really
Right.
scared of doing again, is just
Yeah.
what I post. Same with like I said, I think there's been like 10 people I know of now who have had their accounts flagged for that.
Yeah.
There's just no getting your account back. It's just not worth the hassle. Instagram was just very unhelpful. So yeah,
Yeah. Yeah.
that's my advice. Just
I think it's kind of interesting too, in terms of those types of posts about brake calipers and stuff, is that I've
yeah,
actually seen more creativity with the words and on there, like
yeah. Oh, I know. It makes
instead of
people want.
using, yeah, they'll just use a different graphic instead, that's
Yeah,
maybe
yeah,
more
yeah.
personal or
Yep.
more to the car brand,
Yeah.
which
I mean, it is super frustrating to still see big pages posting them
yeah,
and nothing's happening. It's like, why me?
yeah,
But
yeah,
whatever, is what it is. I just hope it doesn't happen to anybody else, because it is really frustrating.
it's not good.
It,
Yeah.
it can it can be super damaging to a business. But yeah.
Yeah, you just had the momentum there where you could just pick it up. But, not everybody may have that. If they're, it's just be cautious, everybody. That's all.
Mhm.
There are pitfalls and
Yeah,
and
yeah.
and stuff to it all. But let's get on to something else. So,
Yep.
how do you keep your A game going, Ronan? Do you subscribe to a specific process, a mantra, or a philosophy? What is it?
Quality 100%, no matter what. If something has to get redone out of my own expense, if it means I have to work like a bit later, push other jobs behind to get one job done 100%, I just won't let quality slip. It's just, that's what people are paying for. They're paying for the whole experience of, I like I said, I put the little RD on the stickers, like that's like my stamp of approval. Like, this is good
Mhm.
enough. Like, well, not good enough, but you know what I mean. Like, this is as good as it's
It's
gonna get from
Ronan
me.
approved,
It's
right?
like it's Roro approved. Everyone usually gets stickers. If you spend over a certain amount, I'm gonna give you a free T-shirt. You get all these. Like I said, I even though I might post 5 to 10 quality pictures, people are getting like 30 pictures sent to them. It's
Mhm.
like I'm kind of going for like a whole experience.
Package. It's like a
It's
package.
exactly right. So when people say like, "Oh, why are you $50 more than the other person?" I'm like, "Because of this. Like,
Right.
this
Yeah.
is this is the extra you're gonna get. Like, everyone, I don't care if someone's gonna spend $50 or $5,000. You're gonna get the exact same treatment. Everyone is just. I'm a car guy too. Like, I get it. Like, I love modifying cars, and because I got into the kind of this business, and because I now have like a house, wife, kid, I don't get to work on cars as much as I want to, but because I get to at work, I still
Hmm.
get I basically modify cars all day every day. Right? And no job is the same twice.
Well, I
Like,
think,
usually,
aren't you saying like maybe you treat your customer like how you would want to be treated?
oh, 100%.
Yeah.
100%. So I mean,
Yeah. And
if I went into a shop and someone's like a bit rude and short with me, like, no thanks. I'm not saying I'm trying to be your friend, but like, maybe I could be your friend. Maybe if you're super nice, I'll maybe I'll only bring my work to you and always recommend you, kind of thing, right? So it's just like, I'm just trying to be people's friend. Like, that's all it comes down to. I'm just trying to give everyone like a good experience. Like, you're spending a lot, like I said, if you're spending 50 to $5 grand, it's still your hard-earned money. Like, 5 grand
right.
to someone might be someone else's $50. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
it's just, yeah, like, I'm interested in what the car is, what color the car is, what mods you've done to the car or whatever it may be. But I get to be a part of that. Like, I basically get to make someone's car and dream car come to reality, because I get to do the bronze wheels that they wanted. I get to, do the wheels candy red that they always envisioned, and it makes everyone super happy. So it's like, if you want that from your wheels, I want the whole experience to be pleasurable. You know what I mean?
Yes. Yes. Now, um, I think I told you this, and this is what led to the podcast, but I told you that you were a little surprised to learn that your name came up as the most admired brand that others
Yeah, that's
follow.
crazy. That's crazy. Yeah, that's crazy, because I didn't quite understand the question. I think I just put some random supplier like High Temp Mask and Co., who just like supply like
Was that
hooks
you?
and yeah. I was like, I didn't quite understand the
No,
question.
no,
I was like,
no. You
a
answered it
brand.
right. I didn't
Yeah,
specify.
Yeah.
It could have been Prismatic. It could have been Columbia. It could have been
Yeah. Yeah.
anybody. It was just
Yeah.
whatever's on Instagram or Facebook or wherever you go.
Yeah.
What brand do you admire? They're doing
Yeah,
something right? So
that's crazy.
I think that was a way of maybe the industry letting you know that what you're doing is important and it's trend setting.
Yeah, yeah. I mean, it's crazy. I mean, I probably get more Instagram DMs from other coders than actual customers. Like, I probably spend more of my time talking to like other people in the industry about like oh god. I mean, I don't want to sound like arrogant or anything like that, but I mean, like, I get tons of like people asking for advice all the time, and like I
Questions,
try,
yeah,
yeah, just like
yeah.
questions of like, how did you do this? How do you do that? What do you recommend for this and that? And
As
like
if the Facebook group isn't enough, but yeah,
yeah, yeah.
exactly.
I mean,
They're
I
asking you
try.
directly.
Yeah, I mean, I try help as much as possible, and I love to help. It's just like in my nature, just to be
Yeah.
helpful.
Yes.
I mean, sometimes it just gets overwhelming. Of like, man, just figure it out on your own. Like, it's just a simple plugging a hole. Like, we don't need to have a 20-minute conversation about it. You know what I mean? Something like simple like that. But I mean, yeah, that's just how everyone's become so connected. Is just like talking so much in like the Instagram group that I'm in. Like I said, I've been talking to these guys for like 5 years now. Like the one guy, Velocity Powder Coat in California.
Oh yeah, they
Like
like their
one,
brands. Yeah.
like one of my best friends in the industry. I talk to him every single day. Like even if it's about family, we'll just send each other like funny memes all the time. Like I think it's like when I first opened, I got like this machine to like so I can like brush wheels, and he sent me. This is like a huge call out to him right now. Is he asked me for pictures of the machine, sent him tons of pictures, and he still has never built one. That was like almost 5 years ago. So, and he's asked me over 5 years, probably 10 times, hey, can you resend me those pictures again? I got to build one. I'm like, no, scroll back 5 years ago in our conversation, and like, I'll go find them. You know what I mean? Yeah, like I
Do
would
the
love to
work,
go.
dude.
Yeah,
Right.
yeah. I've said so many times, like I would just love to go to California and just go like work in the shop with him, or just like go hang out.
Hey, that's an
Yeah,
idea. Yeah.
yeah,
I
right.
mean, I think that's what I love about powder coating is that it's kind of, I don't want to say it's small because it seems like there's more and more people getting into it every day.
Yeah. Oh, yeah,
Um,
yeah,
so it's growing in that sense, but um, it just seems the more I know about it, the smaller the world seems to me. Like when I first was working in it, when Ross doesn't care either way. He's just, I'm too busy working, whatever. But
yeah, yeah.
I I wanted to reach out to people, and I started to, and I realized it's a really small, close knit group, although
Oh,
it does
100%.
have some gaps in it, and that's kind of where we're at with what we're doing here on the
Yeah, yeah,
podcast. Is it seems like these industrial coders, they kind of have their own subgroup it's really
yeah, yeah,
segmented, even though it's powder coating. And at Maui Powder Works, we do both rims and
yeah,
industrial
yeah,
work, so we cross over maybe more so than other guys do. But um, it's really like there's a whole nother level to it, or like
yeah,
the industrial coder guys, and they're all tight with each other because I don't know, they just seem to be a little bit more networked, albeit
yeah.
they're just small. But
It's just like similar interests, right? Like people who
yeah,
like metal music are all gonna hang out together, and those who like rap music are all gonna hang out together. Although it's music, you're in your own subculture. You know what I mean?
right, it
Like
is a
that's
subculture. Yeah, I guess
yeah.
that
But
the
I mean, like if you
Instagram group. Yeah.
yeah, like if you look at any powder coaters like Instagram, they post something. Almost every like and comment is from another powder coater. Like
Yeah,
that's
I know.
like everybody just like will comment the fire emoji, dude. That's dope.
Yeah,
Or yo, what
which I
color was
love.
that?
It's because you're supporting your industry, and I
Yeah,
love that.
right. Yeah,
Yeah,
like
yeah,
everyone's that way, and it's awesome. I mean, like
yeah,
the biggest thing is like people always asking for each other's colors. I mean,
yeah.
that's something I'm kind of touchy on. Depending who it is, I'll tell them. But I mean, I've got like there's a bunch of colors like I try to perfect. Um, like the biggest one is like the like matte bronze seems to be the biggest kind of. I don't even know what the word is. Like it's like the abominable snowman. Like everyone just
Right.
wants to see the
Yeah.
perfect one, or it's probably not the right phrasing, but like the matte bronze is just like the biggest thing, I think, in the powder world, because of like all the like anodized finishing that all these like reputable wheel companies come out with. Is people want to replicate that as close as possible. And like I've spent like I said, 8 years trying to like perfect this as close to anodizing like the look and the texture and the, and the color and the shade. It's just like that's the kind of thing that people don't really like to share. It's because like someone's put so much time, effort, and money into it. And like I've had people send me wheels from all over the states just because they want that color. Like no one else in, I'm not going to say no one, because I've now given out this color and people have found their own colors and got close. But I mean, there was a while where people would send me wheels from the States because I was the closest person to replicate this bronze, and they would just spend the money to get it, right? I mean, now, like Velocity Powder Coat, like he was the first person I shared my color and like the technique behind getting the color. I've shared it with a few others now, but like it's kind of like that trust thing, right? It's like I'm not going to give you the color without getting someone in return. So next time someone posts a color, yo, what color is that? You have to tell me now because I told you mine, and like that's my moneymaker.
Right.
Or like, you know what I mean? It's like, so that's how people get like really close and like recommend each other's work back and forth. People from the States all the time message me and, hey, how much to do this? And I'm like, where are you? Like the first question is, where are you located? And I'll recommend you to the closest shop of someone I would trust to do a good enough job to like, you know what I mean?
Yes.
So if you're in the California area, it's like go to Velocity Coatings. If you're in Florida, go to Blast Coatings. It's like, and then anywhere in between, Texas, it's like go to Rob R&P MC. What up, Rob? If you listen to this. Like Coates Coating.
I know, and the R&P guys.
Yeah.
Okay, so do they not have an Instagram? Because okay, I'm thinking of somebody else because somebody was saying R&P. I think the RMP or RNP, and I couldn't find them.
MC.
Okay. Well, that's a different. Okay, because
Rob's so funny. Rob is hilarious.
Oh, okay, good. I'll have to look them up. So here's a question for you. If you had an extra $10,000 in your bank account for your business, how would you spend it on your business or in your business?
I would just buy more supplies so that I don't have to go out and buy them.
Yeah, just bulk up on supplies.
I usually do it once a year where I just go crazy and I'll just buy 20 rolls I did it last year. I was like, I'm going to prepare for the spring.
Isn't it nicer?
I was like, I'm just going to buy 20 rolls of tape. I'm going to buy all these new silicone plugs. I'm going to buy, tin foil for my racks. I'm going to buy hooks. I'm going to buy bolts, like all that, blasting media, extra blasting hose, blasting nozzle, like you name it. I just went ahead and bought everything.
Yeah.
Because if something goes down and you got to stop what you're doing and go out to the store and try to get it, or you got to order something, it's going to be a few days or a week or whatever. It's just going to slow you down. It's just a mess. So I did that. And of course, within a few months, it all runs out anyway. And I'm like, wow, I got to really triple up next time.
Who didn't order this again?
I mean, like, I didn't realize how quick I would go through tape. I'm like, you know what? I'm just going to pull the trigger and just order 3 times as much as I usually get. And then it just runs out as fast. And I'm like, oh, okay, well, that didn't work. So if I had an extra 10 grand, I just go buy I'd just buy a crate of tape, crate of media blasting, sand, like, all that kind of stuff for sure.
Yeah. And I mean, I think that's actually for a small coder business, I think you're onto something here, because the point I want to make is that when you can afford to buy in bulk, it gives you a better price when you're stacking up things. But at the same time, we use it as a gauge to tell us how busy we are. It's almost like a leading indicator in a sense, because like we do that with our blasting. It's so expensive to ship things here. So when we order our garnet for our sandblasting, we order it in bulk because it saves on shipping because it's so expensive, but also we get a better price per bag. Anyways, long story short is the faster we run out of that, the faster we know, oh my gosh, wow, we're really busy,
Yeah, exactly.
So it's a nice way to gauge. I don't think people realize that, aside from saving maybe money with bulk buying, but that's great. Yeah, I think I agree with you. I think that's a great answer for that one.
I mean, it's very hard because being a one-man show, like I don't really keep track of that. I don't think, oh, I've gone through 10 rolls of tape this week instead of 2 this year, this time last year. I never really keep track of that because my weeks happen so differently. Like
Mm-hmm.
the busier I get, I'll spread out my workload through
Mm-hmm.
different weeks. I mean, I don't coat the same day I'm blasting stuff. I won't chemical strip the same day I'm you know what I mean? I switch my weeks up so much of I'll spend as much time as possible in a week chemical stripping and
Oh,
curb
I
brush
see what you're
repairing.
saying. Yeah.
And
Okay. You're
then
grouping, you're
the
segmenting your market.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. So
Your work.
I'll just group as much stuff, the same process on as many things as possible until I get to the point of like, okay, now I have 20 sets of wheels ready to coat. I'll just coat as many wheels as possible. So once I'm coating all day, I don't touch any other thing. I won't even go curb brush repair a wheel in the back. Like I
Right.
won't even mask up something else. I don't distract myself from the work. I just strictly focus on this task, on this project. I'm not going to try spread myself thin and just put my focus elsewhere when I don't need to. So yeah, like I said, it's just I chemical strip and repair as much as possible. One week, the following week, I'll just media blast as much as possible. The next few days, I'll clean the shop, I'll mask up, and then it's just strictly coating. So then, yeah, like I get people being like, "Oh, how many sets of wheels do you coat a week?" And I'm like, "It doesn't work like that. Like
Yeah.
I'm not a production shop. I'm not just hanging up little hooks and just coating them all day. And I don't have someone else blasting the stuff while I'm doing this. It's like that's usually my process. I mean, like we all know, you could turn around a set of wheels in like less than 24 hours if that was the only thing in your shop. I mean, if you're set up for it, you can totally do it. But as a one man run shop, I just cannot do that. I'm not
Well,
set
I
up to
think
do
it's
that. I
actually a
don't do it
brilliant
like
way to
that.
do it. I think it's great that you do it that way. I mean,
Yeah.
not everybody works the same way, but I
Yeah.
think that's a
No.
really insightful way to go
Like
about the
that. Like
process.
yeah. Like that's why I try to keep my like quality control and my workload like to 100% because I'm the one doing
Yeah.
everything and I
Well,
focus
your
just
focus is
strictly
there.
on.
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Like I go into tomorrow and go, I'm gonna just tape all day. So I know I'm gonna be sitting on my ass. I know I'm gonna probably cut myself with a razor blade. I know I can just like there's gonna be no extra background noise of a compressor running, of like a sandblaster going, the oven going. I can just put on some music, have a chill day, take a break
Yeah.
whenever I want, and it's like not strenuous, right? Knowing the next step is gonna be like, oh, I'm gonna be coating all day. It's gonna be super hot. I'm gonna be sweaty. I'm gonna have powder stuck in my eyelashes.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
I know going into the following week what I got to do. Um, yeah, I mean it's kind of hard. It's kind of hard to work that way as well because a lot of customers are like, "Oh man, your turnaround time's 3 weeks. Someone else's is
Yeah.
3 days," and I'm like, "Well, I don't work like that. So this is why it takes 3 weeks because I'm not even going to touch your stuff. I work on it over the span of 3 weeks,
Yeah.
right? So that's
I don't think there's anything wrong with that,
yeah,
especially
yeah,
when the quality is there for sure. I mean, and you know it is. I mean, everybody
yeah.
should know that by now. If they don't, they're
Yeah, that's
forget
just
it.
the educational part, right? I mean, there's
Yeah.
within 100-mile radius, there's like 50 shops. I
Hmm.
mean, not all of them like offer. I'm not gonna say the quality of work. Not people offer like the custom side of it. I mean, there's industrial shops that are just like, oh, I'll just go ahead and just do a set of wheels, and they just like don't do it correctly, for next to no money. But it's like that's why I just try to educate people so much. It's like this is my process, and this is what you're paying for here, and this is why it takes longer. So,
Yeah.
like I said before, is like go ahead, go to McDonald's and just get a quick burger that's like not that good, or you go to a Gordon Ramsay restaurant, you're gonna wait 2 months to get there, but it's gonna be amazing, right? Like that's
Right.
I always try. It's funny. I always try to compare the coating industry with the food industry, and once you do, it just kind of dumbs it down enough to
Yeah.
understand. Yeah,
Well,
just for the general public. So
we just want to preface the background noise that you're not in a gunfight right now.
no, it's actually Canada Day. It's Canada's birthday today. People are lighting off fireworks. I'm just sitting outside watching it.
Yeah, it sounds
Yeah,
wonderful. I mean,
yeah,
if you know what it is and it's not what you think it
yeah,
is.
yeah.
um, okay, just to wrap up
Mhm.
with the last question, is there anything you would like to change in this industry, or do you see any trends changing in the industry?
I mean, what I would like to change is just like is more education from people or to more educate people who are starting off to just like do it the correct way. I mean,
Yeah.
it's just, I don't mean it like that. I don't mean I know everything and do it my way. But I mean, there is a certain way that a lot of people are doing it, and we all kind of frown upon the people doing it not the correct way, because that's what gives our industry the bad name.
Yes.
I mean, there's a time and a place. Like the biggest thing is hot flocking, which if people don't know that listening, that is like pull something out of the oven at like 450 degrees, just shoot a ton of powder on it, put it back in the oven. Like, yeah, it can be done. It's been done, but I'm sure everybody has done it. There's a time and a place. But I mean, there's just certain things that people do that does get frowned upon, because we're just trying to hone in on making this the best thing possible. Like, exactly, especially for wheels and like high-end wheels, is there's a lot of detail in wheels. There's a lot of, there's engravings, there's raised lettering and stuff like that. If you do it incorrectly, you're going to lose all that. Especially if someone goes, you know what, a buddy of mine got some stuff powder coated, it just started chipping off right away. It was on super thick. I'm never going to get anything powder coated. I'm just going to paint it. It's like you just went to, and
the wrong person.
The wrong person. I mean, like I said, I don't want to come off as like I'm do it my way. It's just like, I know there are a million people out there in our like industry who do it a certain way that gets the quality of finish and like no loss of details and a long lasting finish. And it makes powder, like, this is what powder coat is. It's like, it is a science to be done like this. I mean, there's many variables that can change it. So it's like, it has to be within this. Everybody's prep is completely different. I feel like I go way overboard, but that's because of my auto body background of like sanding things, because you see everything through the paint. If there's like one pinhole somewhere, you're going to see it. So that's where my over prep comes in, is just through that background as well as polishing. But yeah, I mean, that's kind of what I would change, is just people. Another thing that's probably changes is like people working together. Is like, don't be afraid to recommend another shop to do something.
I agree with you on that.
Yeah, I mean, it is always scary being like, well, if I recommend them for something, then they'll just continue to go there and not me.
Well, I'm not going to recommend a guy. I don't know. We're on a small island. There aren't very many of us here, but I'm not going to send him to the guy that just got in with his credit card. You know what I mean? Spent $75,000 to, or I don't even know. I mean, I'm guessing that the system he bought was that. I mean, and God knows how much it costs to put it all together. And the like Powder X guy, whatever, it's like, oh my gosh, now you're going to learn, like, that's not how we bootstrapped. So I'm not going to just out and out recommend you just because you have $150K to drop into a new business, it doesn't work that way. But it's funny you mentioned the hot flocking or the hot coating, because that's actually one of the topics my husband wants to cover, and we're gonna cover it in the next podcast. So I hope everybody sticks around for that, because it's definitely got there is a system to it, or he's just gonna kind of talk about his way of doing it.
I mean, if people do out there, I'm not hating on you. I used to do it too. Like, that's all I used to do.
Yeah.
So I'm not saying that's not the right way to do it. I put out a million show finishes on stuff hot flocking only. I just, through all these groups and through talking to people, I just, you learn and you evolve and you just do things differently and you find out what works for you. So this is where I am. I don't do that anymore.
Yeah.
That's all I'm saying on that topic. Yeah. As for
I think there's definitely some subtleties to it. And I hope he gets to talk about it soon. We were actually going to talk about it on our episode 1, but then we thought, well, we'll just introduce ourselves first instead of overwhelming people with that topic. But it's definitely a topic I think could garner some shed some light on, I guess. And, I mean, if it came to, if he thought of it, then, and you thought of it, then it must be something that people need to talk about, because I think that's where you see what happens. It's like they cake it on too much and it gets really thick. And when you're looking on Instagram and you're seeing
somebody's candy color, right? Especially candy color, like, don't go ahead and try hot flock like like candy copper or candy gold. Like, it's not going to be correct.
Right.
So,
Yeah.
sorry, like just to
No,
back
I
up a
think
little
you're
bit.
right there. Definitely.
But yeah, as to go into like the recommending of the shop thing is like
Yeah.
there's it's all based on people's area. I mean, there's like I said, there's so many shops in like my area, like even like there's within the last 4 years, there's like 20 more that have come up, and everyone's trying to get into like the custom car and the car show world. So like that's the world like I'm trying to get all the business I can is
Yeah.
like the specific like people want top quality show, like it doesn't matter if it's your daily driver, your winter car, like I'll offer like show quality only. Like that's what I just want to like
Hmm.
get. So it's like I'm not going to recommend a shop who, if it's something I don't want to do or something just like kind of out of my league, I'm not going to be like, oh, we'll go to them, because then they'll just always go to them for everything. So I leave kind of stuff up to the customer. If someone says, I get messages all the time that's like, hey, I want to go, get a patio furniture done. I'm like, well, I'll go to this person, right? Like an
Right.
industrial coder who I
Yeah.
know isn't going
I
to be
think
stepping on my
people,
toes.
we have that here too. We've got a powder coater who does mostly resort stuff. I don't want it. We don't want that kind of work because that's not who we are. We want to do more quality kind of stuff than the turn and burn low margin stuff that he does. So,
like when I first,
go ahead.
go ahead, sorry. So yeah, like when I first opened, I would literally take anything and everything. Like you got patio furniture, bring it in, no problem. I was just like, you just got to get your name out there, and just like I've reined it back, and I probably turn away more jobs than I take in, because there's like so many things like I want my patio furniture doing, like a car frame. I'm not set up for doing that. I need, even stuff that's like one of my dad's friends owns a balcony company that does like glass balconies and stuff for like high-rise condo buildings. And he's like, hey, we're building this new condo building. I could send you like 3 million pieces for this condo building. And I'm like, man, that's too much for me. Like I would literally have to just dedicate my entire life to doing your job, until this building's done. Like that's not up my alley. Like it's just cool.
Well, you know who
like
you
the
are.
money would be insane. Yeah, the money sounds insane, but like
that's not everything though. You know what I mean? It's
like,
yeah.
Like
it's about knowing who your customer is and what you're good at and what you want to focus on.
Exactly. So I'm going to continue to evolve and take on what I want. And, I'm honing into like that custom car world. I'm just trying to be as affordable as possible, because I'm just going to say it again. I'm a car guy, so I know what I would want to spend on something, and I want the best quality I can for that price. I'm not going to go ahead and just spend, like, it's like an oil change, right? Like you can go get a $10 oil change. You can go get a $5,000 oil change. It depends who's, like be within your budget. And I just try to be within almost everybody's budget for what they want, especially if you're trying to do like a high end kind of car. So
I think it's like, because this podcast kind of appeals to everyone of all different skill levels. I think what we're saying is when you're new and you're starting out, you should take every job you can possibly get, because you need the experience, and you also need to it helps you define who you are and who you want to be. The customer part will come later. But there was a point there where you said, okay, I don't want to do any more lanai furniture or outdoor furniture. I'm done with this, and I'm just going to do this now. But you had to get to that point in order to understand. The other guy could be going, hey, I hate doing rims. They're too detailed for me. My customers they're expecting too much. I'd rather focus on a lanai furniture where if I have one little tiny, boo-boo in there, or, or whatever, they're not going to freak out, kind of thing. So, everybody has to find, there's so much work out there. I mean, literally.
Oh, no, that's why, there's just,
it's just starting.
There's like, even when like I said, there's like 20 shops that have popped up in the last 4 years. And I'm like, you know what? I've like never had a slow day. Work still comes in. And if they went somewhere else, like, then that's not the customer for me.
Right.
Like, that's just how I look at it, is like, I've got all the customers that I want and need. And if they're coming to me, that's my customer. That's the person I want to do the work for. If they go somewhere else, that's not the person for me. Like, it's just like, that's how I just see it, is like, I mean, my whole family's all into like, the spiritual kind of thing, and like, like all the karma stuff and blah, blah, blah. Anyway, But yeah, it's like that's just the universe saying like, this is your customer. That guy wasn't your customer. They want to go there, for, to save $10. That's not your customer.
Yeah.
So
I think it should just progress that way naturally. You shouldn't push it one way or the like, I'm going to be the next Roro Designs in my neighborhood, like it may not work that way, I think people should just try to calm down and know that there's plenty of work to be had. And as more and more consumer-based market gets into restoring, keeping their cars, especially if we have a slow economic situation going on with our countries, that they're going to hang on to that car and they're going to want to redo those rims, or they want to change it up when they bring and stuff. But yet there's just so much. The more we can inform the consumer market about powder coating and powder coaters, the more business we will have for ourselves. All of us.
100%. Well, I mean, going way back.
Well, they're just more concerned about maintaining what they have and not throwing it away into the dump when it's over, kind of thing.
But I mean, like, going back and kind of touching on your point is like, I'm trying to like market myself. I'm not trying to market my business or my product or like my quality of work. I mean, like, to a certain extent, but like, I'm trying to market more to me. Like, I'm trying to, like I said before, is like the tattoo artist thing, or someone who specifies in or specializes in doing like hair or piercings or tattoos, or like a chef. Like, no matter where you go, like, you're gonna follow that person, and that's what I'm like trying to make myself out to be. Is like, it doesn't matter if Chip Foose goes to 20 different shops and starts working there. You want Chip Foose to build your car,
right?
So I'm trying to get to that point, or I want it, like, that's how I see what I'm trying to do, is like, it's me doing it, not the work. You know what I mean? That's why I try. That's why I'm like making all my interactions very personal with the customer. It's not like, thanks for your money, here's your wheel. It goes a lot deeper than that.
A long-term relationship with people.
Yeah, exactly.
I agree.
Exactly.
I'm always into that. And I think that that's a great way to end today's podcast, because I think your authenticity is you, and you're not trying to be anybody that you're not. And yet you're still peeling away a layer behind the curtain, so to speak, or behind the onion, as to who you are. And you're doing it subtly, and not overtly enough to where it's just, like, check me out kind of thing, And I love that. I think that you found your groove or your niche or whatever. And you're certainly energetic enough to maintain that and keep your customers happy. So I'm so thankful that you were able to join me today.
No problem. It was my pleasure.
For your long weekend.
How's that for 30 minutes?
Well, that's okay. I'll break the rules for you. I just don't want to bore people, but I don't think anybody's going to find today's podcast boring.
Don't ever call my dad.
Well, again, we can follow you on Instagram at Roro.designs2. That's the new one. And
you'll see me there yelling about people and doing the wrong kind of work.
We'll see beautiful work coming out, and go and follow him.
Thank you so much.
And thanks again to all our supportive followers and fellow powder coaters out there.
Yeah.
I hope you've learned something about your powder coating business through Roro and through me, Kim Scott, your host. Please comment below, follow, like us, share the podcast. If you have a topic you'd like to discuss, just email us at info@mauipowderworks.com. Aloha.